Hello there and welcome to the Trending Now podcast for this Friday, January 12th, 2024. I'm your host, Louie Butko, and coming up on today's show, multiple countries come to the support of Israel as it defended itself against a charge of genocide at the International Court of Justice in the second day of hearings. Trending Now producer Laura Sebben has been following this story this week and joins us with the latest. For the first time in 24 years, the New England Patriots will have a new head coach next season, and they're not the only ones. Jason Gaidola will join us to recap the coaching carousel this week, and we'll get his thoughts on the Super Wildcard weekend. And Ariana Grande releases her first new music in more than 3 years as her single Yes and hits the airwaves today. Emily Tayler is hosting Trending Now today and breaks down the not-so-subtle dig at her critics. But we start with Israel defending itself today against claims of genocide from South Africa at the United Nations top court. This is a story Laura Sebben has been following. She is the producer and co-creator of Trending Now. And Laura, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau among those backing Israel, saying just because they support the ICJ, they don't support the premise of South Africa's genocide case against Israel. What is South Africa obviously accusing Israel of genocide, but what's their argument?
The main thing they're hoping for is an emergency halt to Israel's offensive in Gaza. That is the main thing they're hoping to get out of this. And an additional item is that they want Israel to be held responsible for genocide. The genocide portion of their case is going to take years because it requires defining the word, it requires evidence, it requires, a lot more stuff that is going to take a long time to weed through. But they really only did 2 days of testimony. South Africa was yesterday, Israel was today, and then in the coming weeks, the ICJ will decide if they're going to order Israel to halt their offensive in Gaza. But, it's unclear if Israel will abide by that court order. It's not so much legally binding. It's kind of, I don't know, the person I talked to yesterday described it as like a temporary restraining order against Israel for the people of Gaza.
The ICJ, that's the International Court of Justice. What kind of powers do they have? This is a United Nations body. We've seen resolutions at the United Nations be either vetoed by the Security Council. We've seen some pass. We've seen Canada vote for some, Canada not vote for others. What is the power of the ICJ?
They're more like figureheads. There's nothing legally they can do. They can, like I said, either don't tell Israel to stop or tell Israel to stop. And then they have the power to do that, but I don't know if Israel doesn't listen to them, if there's anything that they can do, to get them in trouble or to say, okay, well, if you don't listen to us, you're getting kicked out of the body. I don't think that's going to happen. So
this Monday will mark 100 days since Gaza, Hamas, invaded Israel, killed 1,200 people and took 240 hostages back to Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel, as we know, has responded with a ground offensive that local authorities say has killed more than 23,200 Palestinians. In these 100 days, how has the view of this war changed internationally? We've seen Canada inch towards a ceasefire, not exactly call it. We've seen Trudeau stop himself by saying anything but ceasefire. Has public opinion changed about these 100 days? Where have we seen the feel of this war go?
I don't think public opinion has changed too much. There's always been a pretty strong public backing for the people of Palestine. What a lot of people bring up and what a lot of the protesters who are actually in The Hague yesterday and today are bringing up is that this didn't start on October the 7th. These claims of genocide go far past that. Since Israel has become a nation 75 years ago after the Holocaust, they have fought tooth and nail to get the land that they have, and in some hands deservedly so, and in others they've gone too far. So I think public opinion often is on the side. I've been surprised to see some political opinion change. As you mentioned, Canada really hasn't changed their position too much. They've said a couple strong things about Israel's ground offensive, but nothing substantial. The U.S., of course, 100% behind Israel, UK 100%, but France has come out and said, like, this is getting a little bit out of hand and we need to like reel this in. And while still supporting Israel's right to like defend itself against Hamas, there have been countries coming out and recognizing that they're going a little bit beyond the scope of Hamas with their offensive. And I think that's, you know, the concern. Like, covering this story since October for 100 days, even just in the last 2 days, it coming up again with this case, you know, you see videos of Reuters, they go out to people in Israel and get their opinion and talk to people in Israel, and like they're just out sitting at a cafe, enjoying themselves at the beach, riding their bikes along the sidewalks. And then you see on the opposite hand, they're in Gaza talking to Palestinians about it, and they're like not in homes. They're sitting in ruins. They have dirty water next to them, and they're just covered by like a sheet. Yeah. So it is very jarring to see the difference. And part of what South Africa said was there's no denying that what happened on October 7th was awful and should not have happened. And your initial fight back against Hamas was completely valid. But they are just recognizing that the scope seems to have gone beyond Hamas by this point.
We saw U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken this week basically say that, right? He says, you know, these civilians that you are targeting, you know, you say you're not targeting, but civilians have been the main casualty of this war in Gaza. And as we mentioned, the reports on the ground are north of 23,000 Palestinians killed in this war. And is also saying, you know, he's fighting back. He says, you know, Palestine needs to continue to be a state, which a lot of Israelis, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu at the top of the list. And, you know, he got into power. A lot of people forget he wasn't very popular at all going into October 7th. He's still not that popular in Israel, that being Benjamin Netanyahu. He has a lot of, I guess we would call them hard right here in North America, but he's got a lot of Orthodox Jewish people in his camp that are saying, you know, we might not stop until Hamas is no more, which might, if that takes destroying Palestine, that's what it'll take.
Yeah, and a lot of people in Israel, non-government people in Israel, recognize that the longer they oppress the people of Palestine, the longer Hamas is going to thrive, because
you're invigorating a new generation of people. And we've seen this in Afghanistan around 9/11. And again, that's something that U.S. officials have been saying since day one is, what's your plan?
Yes.
What's your out? So obviously, you know, we are just marking 100 days. War on Monday. I think I know what your story might be on Monday, marking 100 days of the Israel-Hamas war. But I'm not telling you how to do your job.
Nah,
you don't tell me how to do my job.
Yeah.
I don't tell you how to do your job.
It's disappointing to see how this is played out. And I think, I'm hoping the international community can step up and like be there for Palestine and be there for Gaza and help them get a form of government that isn't Hamas. Because right now Hamas runs them, right? And I think the way to achieve that is having it done by international bodies instead of once Israel decides it has eliminated Hamas, Israel is likely going to be the one to try and rebuild Gaza, to try and turn Gaza into a state. And I feel like that's just going to continue this like cycle of violence. So,
all right, let's shift gears to something a little more positive, so to speak. The Golden Globes were held on Sunday. I was here in this building on Sunday. There were a couple moments where I thought of you. One of them was the Timothy Chalamet. I thought they weren't together, and the Jenner girl. I don't know which one.
Kylie.
Thank you.
You don't know which one.
Kylie or Kendall. I knew I had a 50-50 shot. Kylie. Kylie is the one dating Chalamet. How much did that pain you to see them acting all that? Are you over Chalamet now that he's No, you're not.
No. My first reaction was just like, leave her at home. That was my first reaction. I don't know, whatever. I don't know this person.
Whatever. Okay.
I shouldn't care so much about who he's dating. It is what it is. But I think on both sides of the equation, like for her and for him, I don't get it.
I also liked how Cillian Murphy did not wear makeup, which I appreciate as somebody who doesn't wear makeup on television. Picked up his
Well,
little
he's
statuette.
pretty naturally snatched,
Robert,
I would say, his
well,
face.
I'm not. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Robert Downey Jr. as Oppenheimer was the big winner. What did you take away from the Golden Globes? Joe Coy getting a lot of criticism online. We should mention, nobody wanted this job.
No.
A lot of people turned down this job to host. Joe Coy maybe reluctantly took this job. A joke specifically about Taylor Swift fell flat. And honestly, Taylor Swift, don't expect not to be picked out. Hey,
but it was a funny joke.
The joke was we're gonna
have less camera shots of her than the NFL. That's a good joke.
And
that was one of his few good jokes.
Snooty on the table there.
I don't know. I
Maybe
couldn't tell.
it was because Travis Kelce couldn't join.
I couldn't tell if it was a sip, like an FU sip, or if it was yeah, that's right. They got lots of camera shots of me sip. I couldn't tell.
Oppenheimer. 5 awards, including Best Drama, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. We saw those, Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. Best Score and Best Director. This was cool. Lily Gladstone won Best Actress in a Drama Film for Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, and she began her speech speaking the language of her native tribe, Blackfeet Nation. Very cool moment in the Golden Globes on Sunday with that.
Yeah, I think so, especially being a Canadian. I feel like no offense to the United States, but I feel like we hold our Indigenous people in a higher regard than the United States.
And she was not without her criticism of this movie, though, was she not?
No, I mean, and there were even some Indigenous, what do they call them? When they work on the movie?
Yep.
You know what
Crews?
I mean? No.
Consultants?
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's Friday. It's Friday. Words don't come
I used
easy.
all my big words in the Israel chat. Consultants who said it could have been done better, but it was important that the story was told regardless. And Martin Scorsese has said that he feels like he's finding out about these stories that he wants to tell when it's too late. Meaning I'm old and there's all these stories that I want to tell now that I didn't know about before.
Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph both won for The Holdovers. I don't even know what that movie is.
I do. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard critics call it a modern, more comedic version of the Dead Poets Society.
Okay.
I'm hoping it's available.
Is it an actual comedy though? Is it an actual? Because I don't know. Talking about May December was also nominated in the comedy category.
It is not
when it's not a comedy at all. Poor Things. That's the one with Emma Stone, where she's Frankenstein-style monster. Yeah. She won. Jennifer Lawrence kind of stealing that moment with the voicing, if I don't win, I'm going home. I love Jennifer Lawrence. She's awesome.
She's cool.
Succession cleaned up. They won Best Drama Series for the 3rd time. That ties the record set by Mad Men and The X-Files. A mark that sets the record, excuse me. Mm-hmm. They had 3 stars from the series who also won. Matthew McFadden, Sarah Snook, and Kieran Culkin.
Yeah.
I loved Succession.
I love Succession. I think it's so good.
When is a TV show, what's too short of a time to rewatch a TV show?
I don't think there is one. Really? I've done back-to-back rewatches.
Back-to-back rewatches?
Yeah.
Of complete series?
Yep.
What series?
I don't want to say.
One Tree Hill?
No.
Is it along that though?
No, but it's a long series, so
Grey's Anatomy?
No, it was the original CSI.
Oh,
I watched all 16 seasons and then was like, I think I'm just going to watch it again. All the episodes are different.
CSI, I kind of watched up until the one where he was buried alive.
That's so early on. And what's crazy about that episode is it was directed by Quentin Tarantino, which is wild.
So crazy.
I think so. If you think about the stuff he does.
I haven't seen The Bear yet.
Neither have I.
And everybody is obsessed with this Jeremy Allen White guy. There he is. That's him right there. Jeremy, if you're watching this, sorry. If you're listening to this, you won't know what I'm referring. I don't get it. I don't so he was on Shameless before.
Yeah, which give him his flowers for Shameless. I loved Lip.
That's who he was.
That was his character. Yeah.
And then I guess that's A.O.A. DeBurry. She won for Best Leading Performance as well.
Yes, I don't know if you've ever seen her stuff. She's my favorite person ever. I think she's so funny, very talented. She's great. I love her.
Front and center, though, at the Bear, speaking of giving them their flowers, chef slash actor.
Oh, yeah.
Fort Erie's very own Maddie Matheson, also taking home a trophy as part of Best Ensemble.
Yes, as part of the Bear.
Best Ensemble on the Bear. He's a chef. Have you been to Rizzo's House of Parm?
No, but our assignment editor Carly's going tomorrow night. Her partner made a reservation for them today.
I've heard nothing but good things. Like, I have friends who have gone like multiple times. Like, my family's out in Crystal Beach. They go, but they say it's the cheese sticks. They got to go back. Like, the mozzarella sticks are like literally like chocolate bar size.
I'm a sucker for a good mozzarella stick.
Apparently, it's pretty good.
He's got what, 2 in Toronto too?
Yeah, he's got a bunch. Like high class. He had Maddie's Meats +3.
Maddie's Meats.
That was just like a little shack in Fort Erie, literally.
Oh my God.
Big plans for the weekend.
Just seeing Mean Girls tomorrow. That's about it.
I've seen one clip circulating. Have you seen this?
The one where everybody
when you don't
groans?
know it's a musical? At least you know it's a musical.
I
going
do.
into it.
I feel like do a little bit of research.
Like Wonka. Wonka was a musical.
Yes.
Didn't really tell you that.
I mean, yeah, but again, do a little bit of research. The opening shot in the trailer is
Shame our listeners.
It's her singing "I Am Regina." Like, do you think that's just like random? I don't know. I go to a lot of movies, as you know, Louie. I'm at the theater quite often.
Theater.
And movie trailers, especially for popular movies, come out well in advance, and they usually circulate all over the place. They come out with 2-3 versions of the trailer
But they
sometimes.
intentionally hid the fact, though, that it was...
No, but all I'm saying is, like, I will go to a movie and people will only laugh at the jokes that were in the trailer. And I'm like, what's happening?
Why did you go?
Did you not watch the trailer? Like,
I'm one of those people. I just watch the trailers and then I read the synopsis on
which is fine, but I feel like these people haven't watched the trailer. They're just blindly going in.
I did that for Saltburn, which I'm glad I did. Like, reading the synopsis for Saltburn.
It's chaotic in the best way.
Having read the like 100-word summary at like plot points, I think I'm okay seeing that one for a while. Not that I think I'm okay. It sounds a little intense for me.
That's good.
Laura Sebben, you're getting ready for today's show, so thanks for making the time to join us.
Thank you, Louie.
All right, that is Laura Sebben, the producer and co-creator of the Trending Now podcast. Still ahead, Emily Tayler. She's hosting Trending Now, and in just a second, Jason Gaidola will be joining us. But I want to get to this. Hunter Biden made an appearance as he crashed a House committee hearing alongside his lawyers in a stunning move in the U.S. Capitol. A wild scene unfolding live for all to see as Republicans were just starting to move toward holding the president's son in contempt of Congress when Hunter Biden himself walked through the doors. Things quickly devolved into chaos with arguments and members of a pair of Republican-led committees arguing and speaking over each other in a heated set of meetings. But when it was time to hear from Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, Biden apparently had enough and abruptly walked out. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, quote, "Think it's clear and obvious for everyone watching this hearing today that Hunter Biden is terrified of strong conservative women because he can't even face my words as I was about to speak to him. What a coward." You had Nancy Mace saying that he had no balls in a congressional meeting. You also had Marjorie Taylor Greene pull out some inappropriate pictures. Now, this, of course, is all part of the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden, which centers on allegations of corruptions by the president and his family. Even after Biden was long gone, the debate continued, with Democrats pointing to the appearance of Hunter as evidence that he was willing to appear before the committee. Of course, last year, on the day Hunter's deposition was set to occur, he instead appeared outside the U.S. Capitol defending his business record. Now, if the House holds Hunter Biden in contempt, it will be up to the Department of Justice to decide whether to prosecute. All right, as we shift gears here, it is a busy week in football, and Jason Gaidola has been both on the sports beat and Trending Now beat because, like everybody I know right now, to use a sports term, we've had to shuffle the lineup a little bit. Everybody's feeling a little something right now. You and I seem to be a few of the lucky ones so far.
Oh, you're talking about sorry,
the sickness that's going around, man.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know.
What's happening in the NFL?
We're healthy. Yeah, we'll get there.
No, we'll get there. But no, it's a time. It's a wave coming through, right?
Yeah.
I saw it before Christmas as well. Of course.
Yeah.
I had a bout of it before, like sometime in November, but. comes in waves. It's wintertime. I think it's tough to say, but it seems like it's becoming part of a normal routine, like a normal virus in the flowing in society, like, the influenza.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm like doing all the like chugging orange juice, drinking a lot of water, like all the like wives' tales, bone broth soup, all that stuff. But I still kind of feel it attacking me. But I'm fighting through.
I was just saying, man, get on that oregano oil.
Get
some cold effects.
I've heard
in you.
So that's like the first time. Anyway, we're not giving them the free shout. Let's talk football, because what a week in terms of coaches. And like Arthur Smith, you didn't play. Atlanta, let's skip it. Ron Rivera, Washington Commanders didn't do much. Obviously, great resume. But what 24 hours. See Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, and Bill Belichick, longtime coaches, all called. Let's start with Bill. Was this just a matter of time?
Yeah, maybe long overdue. I mean, ever since Tom Brady left, there was that little run where they thought, okay, can Bill Belichick, is he the genius that he is without Tom Brady? But I've always been the believer that it's been 50-50 in regards to that dynasty. And granted, they also had a lot of great players that went during their Super Bowl teams. Like plenty Hall of Famers on those squads. So it wasn't just Bill Belichick, genius, and Tom Brady. There were a lot of other pretty solid, great players, especially on the defensive side. Is Belichick kind of like your modern day coach? No, he's built like Bill Parcells, right? The old general. He's going to break out the sweat buckets on training camp. You're going to work hard. But it's probably time for a change. Yeah. He's still, I think he brings a lot, at least from the defensive side of the ball. If you look at New England, their defense was legit. There's many games their defense only let up 10 points and they still lost. So
you mentioned that defense and the defense he had. Of course, Jared Mayo, reportedly set to be the new head coach of the New England Patriots. He played, I believe, 6-7 seasons with the Patriots. It's going to be weird to see Bill Belichick with another team, is it not?
Well, the funny enough is that if there was one team that wasn't going to seem weird, is because and if you look back at his history, I do slightly recall him in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I know he's got ties to the New York Giants organization. I think it's always been rumored that that was a desired job. If he were to leave New England, it appears that the New York Giants job is what he wanted. Could it happen? You never know. Now, I don't know how that would fall with fans, because I'm like, you have an all-time legendary coach in the Boston market. He takes off to New York. That could be a little tough to see, especially with New England and the Giants playing each other in the Super Bowls in the past. But who knows? I mean, I think there could be an NFL organization out there saying, they're looking at their situation like, yeah, why not? Let's blow it up and go with Bill. I would not be shocked, and I would not. I wouldn't criticize it. I'm like, if Bill could adjust a little bit, why not? He probably still wants to coach.
Among the kind of the same vein there, Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Again, like the amount of respect that the organizations I coached for to have for these guys, to not just put out a press release. And obviously the Bill Belichick one was rumored. The Pete Carroll one, a bit of a surprise. They finished 9-8 this year, above 500. They made the playoffs under Geno Smith last year.
Yeah.
But there was a certain level of respect that these are guys. And I think for us, our generation, like, it's weird to see coaches in one spot for so long, because we're used to seeing coaches kind of rotated through.
Yeah, it's refreshing. Bless you. It's refreshing to see longtime coaches in one spot. I mean, as much as going with Mike Tomlin and some criticism, sometimes a change of scenery is the way to go. Sometimes something, as they say, I know it's a cliche, it ran its course. Yeah. For whatever reason, but players could end up tuning out on a veteran coach, because especially if they've had the same roster more or less, it's not unusual to see that happen. So I think it's a good move. I mean, he's moving into an advisory role. I could see maybe players getting burnt out playing under Pete Carroll, because he can get everyone so motivated, so fired up, but that could burn out some teams, right? Now they did make some changes, but I still think guys like Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll, they can still offer you something. It's not like they just didn't know how to coach all of a sudden. Yeah.
I get the sense though that like, and I've seen this like around junior hockey and around other sports that, you know, the Mike Babcock style of coaching, where you're in a guy's face, where you're grabbing a guy by the collar. I mean, we saw, incident at the Spangler Cup in which a coach grabbed him, and you had a lot of people saying like, that's not okay. 20 years ago, nobody would have batted an eye. But now, because you are dealing with a different generation of players, like a different generation, and like being a pro athlete, it takes commitment to your craft. It takes, working hard, dedication, all that stuff. But there's a different generation of players.
I think it's I
don't know if the old school style works on.
I think it's a mixture of. I think it's a lot of it has to do with that. I don't know. I mean, can I say we live in a more sensitive world?
Yeah, go for it.
Probably.
Yeah.
But
and I think that's part of it, too.
I think also what plays into it as well is, man, athletes make too much money, and their contracts are so large where it's a lot tougher. I mean, you can still do it in college, even though there's been more reporting of like, alleged abuse or intimidations from college coaches, but on the pros, it's like you're dealing with like men here, or women, and you're dealing with like full adults, people with like families, and it's just like
Who are you?
Yeah, it's like you're an NFL pro, a veteran.
Well,
it's like I'm a grown man. You're gonna
to
do
that
this on
that
me.
point. Then you got Nick Saban, who announced his retirement from Alabama this week as well. And for him, it seems like you're hearing through the grapevine, through different reports, that this deal, these signing deals that players can make are making it way harder to recruit guys, and that's half the battle. Is just getting these guys to commit to the team, and it sounds like Nick Saban's kind of over that right now.
Yeah, and then on that note, I think that's Saban getting a little sour because he dominated the recruiting. I mean, a college head coach, half the battle of being succcell is
setting yourself up.
Is recruiting. Can you recruit the high school players to come to your program? And now that you have NILs and them and players able to make money off their likeness. It's like, well, I won't be so hard pressed to like having to go to Alabama to make sure that my NFL future is secure, because everyone knows that a lot of their players are going to get drafted. It spreads the wealth a little bit, and it leaves kind of an open market on the matter. And if Nick Saban's getting sour about that, it's like, well, I don't know. You got to adjust, man. Adapt or die. I'm
not worried about Nick Saban. He's going to be doing fine. All right. While we got you here, let's run through our NFL picks for the week.
Ooh.
We've never done this before. Browns and Texans. Who you got?
I got the Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud. The magic is over.
It's not so much about
Flacco,
Stroud.
It's experience versus youth in this one.
I think the way Cleveland is playing, their roster seems to be built for the playoffs. Their style of play seems to be built for the playoffs. They got a lethal defense. I mean, and Flacco being the difference maker, coming in right off the couch to replace Deshaun Watson. He's moving the offense. Plus, he also looks a lot more. He looks like refreshed, recalibrated after just kind of withering away. I won a Super Bowl. You never know. I think the Browns is a team that could definitely possibly make a run to the Super Bowl. But I'm for sure taking them over the Texans.
I think this game is going to be closer than we think, though. Texans are playing good football right now, but obviously played in a really crappy division. Dolphins and Chiefs, this one pretty interesting. Who you got?
Yeah, no way.
Chiefs?
Yeah, I have to go with the Chiefs. No offense.
Chantel is yelling. She's screaming. She said she was going to come in here to be a part of the segment. So.
It's not, I mean, it's hard to trust if a Florida team going up into how cold
minus 30 with the wind chill they're expecting. That's Celsius. It's about the same Fahrenheit and Celsius when you're getting that low with the wind chill. It's going to be feeling like minus 30.
The American Midwest is just ferocious cold. Like it's going to be tough, and they're going to have to find a way to the game's going to be slowed down. I'm sure the field's going to be poor. They need speed. They need like a lot of quickness to run their offense. So.
Just like Steelers and Bills, another bad weather game. Josh Allen doesn't play great in crappy weather.
And that's going to be the interesting part, because both are traditionally cold weather teams. It's really going to be a battle of will. Now, I really think it comes down to if the storm passes and they can clear the field, it's still going to be a slow game, but it'll be a lot more palatable. If the field if there's snow that's continuously snowing during the game, it's going to make it even trickier. And then everyone's going to be like, well, it changes the alter of the game, but that's the beauty of football, right? Can you adjust your tactics in such inclement weather.
Real quick, Packers, Cowboys. You got Cowboys?
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys, and also too on the Steelers note, I'm still gonna stick with the Bills.
Good.
But definitely I think Dallas will.
Lions, Rams. You got in that one?
I want to pick the Rams.
You want to pick the Rams?
That seems like a trap game. But then again, I think it would be very
Detroit-esque.
Yeah, it'd be such a great story if Detroit ended up pulling the win. But I think I'm going to go with the Rams in a real nail.
This is the first home playoff game for the Lions in 30 years. 1994. Young Brett Favre, and then Eagles, Buccaneers. That one's actually going to be pretty interesting because the Eagles suck right now.
Yeah.
I might go with the Bucs on that one.
I'll probably stick. I can't trust the Bucs. They're just not quite good.
Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown a football since breaking his finger last week. Don't play guys in garbage time. You're getting ready for the show. What are you working on today?
Oh, yes. The airstrikes in Yemen.
Oh, yes.
USA and the UK responding to the Houthis attack, but then that was also...
There's a Suez Canal.
Yeah.
We got Democrats going after Biden saying we didn't approve this at Congress. It's an interesting story.
From what I understand, it's like if you're declaring war, then you need Congress, but this is just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Technicality.
Right. We will be watching your story tonight. Thanks for doing this, Jason.
Much appreciated.
All right, Jason Gaidola reporting on Trending Now today. All right, we mentioned the Golden Globes, but the SAG Awards had their nominees. The nominations have been released for this year's 30th Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards, and some are raising their eyebrows at select actors going unrecognized, as Barbie and Oppenheimer, unsurprisingly, each received 4 nominations from the Guild, including for Best Ensemble. Now, the two films will compete for that top spot alongside American Fiction, The Color Purple, and Killers of the Flower Moon. But critics started asking questions when Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in Martin Scorsese's Western crime drama was omitted from the Best Actor nominations. Meanwhile, Barbie star America Ferrera also passed over, as well as Charles Melton in May to December. SAG nominations being closely watched because they're seen as a precursor to the Oscars. Nominations for the Academy come out on January 23rd, and the SAGs will stream live on Netflix. Oh, that's kind of cool. On February 24th. Emily Tayler joins us now here in studio on set. We're going to get to the new Ariana Grande song.
Yes, we are.
Which I'm sure has been on repeat in your headphones doing this story.
Absolutely.
But you and I, we're not big movie people.
No, and I used to be. I go through phases where I'll watch movies nonstop, and then I just won't for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I'm in one of those phases of a couple of years. Like things look really good that are coming out now that are in like Golden Globes and the SAG Awards, probably in the Oscars. But will I watch any of them? Like, maybe not.
I think it has a lot to do, like, unless I'm going to the theater, which I've only gone about twice since COVID.
I think me too.
It's hard to, like, this is my ADHD speaking. It's hard to sit down and watch a 3-hour movie like Oppenheimer. Even so, like Barbie, I finished most of it. I haven't gotten to the end, but I finished most of it.
And that's like the most ADHD friendly movie you can find.
I know,
just like
it's bright.
pink color, like constant switches and flashes.
I have every reason to be addicted to this movie, but I just haven't been able to finish it yet. Speaking of bright and flashy, Ariana Grande is known for both those things. She released her latest single and music video titled Yes and we're getting a distinct message from the Grammy Award winner. She's not holding back in this one.
No, I mean, first of all, I would like to say that I think every time you say the title, you have to say yes and? Like it's kind of sassy.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I know yes
There's
and from like an improv
mark in the prompter.
thing.
I'm going to use it. So.
Yes and's like an improv term. And I was like, oh, that's funny. But then I was listening to some reaction to it, and people are like, yeah, so I did this. Yes, and like in a kind of sassy way. But we think the message essentially is just, you know, she's been in the spotlight recently for some controversy for her personal life. And she's pretty clearly telling critics, haters, online trolls, whoever it is in this song and video to like get their nose out of her business, you know, to stop butting into this.
And she has passionately fought back against body shamers.
Yep.
Bullies, you know, and being online, and we say this even in our own little cocoon here. Like when we put ourselves online, we open ourselves up to anonymous feedback.
Oh, yes.
You know, there's the one line this week that stuck with me that it looks like I brushed my hair with a pork chop. which is like, I don't even know what that means.
Oh,
like, I really don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But like, I could see this. Like, I would love if I was creative enough to write a song to be like, screw you, you suck. What is her lyric here? Now I'm so done caring with what you think. No, I won't hide underneath your projections or change my most authentic self. Like, good for her.
Yes.
Like, it's not my cup of tea. Actually, this song got that 90s feel to it, so I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But, good for her. You know, who cares?
I mean, yes and no. So, like...
Yes, and, that's the name of the song.
Yes, and also no. The thing is that, like 100%, I think that she's entirely right in saying that, like, people really need to stop commenting on her body and on her looks and, like, all of these things that have really nothing to do with her merit or her talent. But a lot of the reason that she was in the public eye recently was, like, a bit more controversy that people are kind of upset by involving her relationship. And I mean, maybe there's the argument that people need to stay in their own lane and that her relationship isn't for public comment. But, you know, it was pretty juicy stuff. So. Yeah,
in September, she filed for divorce from Dalton Gomez, her husband of 2 years, citing irreconcilable, great word, differences. And singer actress also set star as Glinda in the upcoming film version of the Broadway musical Wicked, opposite Cynthia Erivo. Maybe.
Erivo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's in your pack. But yeah, I mean, listen, Ariana Grande, do your thing. You know, I mean, it doesn't bother me.
The thing is that, like, okay, so the little, like, 30-second background.
Sure.
Good co-star and her got together. So her good co-star, who had like SpongeBob the musical, that kid, had also just separated from his wife, who he's got like a 16-month-old baby with. And there's, like, you know, a bit of some haze around the timeline for all of this kind of stuff. And she's been getting a lot of flack online for stealing a married man, whatever it is. They both say, you know, they were separated at the time. It has nothing to do with that. But the wife, Lily J, came out afterwards and said that her family was collateral damage in this whole issue. She called Ariana Grande not a girl's girl, things like that. So it's been a bit messy, and so it makes it like, yes.
And?
You know, yes, and stay out of people's lives. Celebrities don't need to be gossip all the time, but also people are upset because they think that she's done something that's wrong.
Ethan Slate, the guy.
Ethan Slate, yes.
Ethan Slate. All right. It's a good song. It's catchy.
It's catchy.
I'm going to be listening. It's got that 90s Madonna.
So it's actually, the music video is based on Paula Abdul's 1988 Cold Hearted video. So it's almost identical. I watched the video and I thought it was like Fame, like that musical.
Okay,
and it sort of got that 80s, like, Broadway musical school kind of feel to it.
But it's like critics like watching her. All right. You'll have more on Trending Now tonight.
I will.
All right. Great to see you this week. I know happy birthday, Mia. Nicole Martin, second week back on the podcast, not here, but thanks for doing this.
Anytime.
All right, my thanks to Emily Tayler for joining me today. My thanks to Jason Gaidola and Laura Sebben as well. And my thanks to you for tuning in to the Trending Now podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe to Trending Now on your various social media channels, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, or you can subscribe on Snapchat at CHCH Trending Now. And while you're busy subscribing, you can subscribe to CHCH Podcasts. Wherever you find your favorite podcasts, you can catch them on YouTube, or you can go to chch.com/podcast. My thanks to Mike Corsten for directing today's show. My thanks to Alex Pohl as well. Great job as production assistant. And one more time, thank you for joining us from all of us here at CHCH. I'm Louie Butko. Have a great weekend.